Hello. Hi guys. What is up? I'm just gonna, have so much fun today with you guys. I'm gonna talk about the kind of content we're gonna create. We're going to talk about the current content landscape and then how to turn that content into money. So if that is something that you're interested in, I'm pumped that you are here. If you're watching the replay, stick around. It's a little different than like a regular video, but like who cares? Right? Super fun. So I'm going to go ahead and, if you're here, say hi, type in the chat. Oh, I typed something funny. Hello. So there's a few people here. Yes, I think I see like 20 people here. That's awesome. Hello. Oh, yay. My chat is showing up over here. Sometimes that doesn't work. So hello. I'm really excited about this workshop. Mainly because somebody thumbs downed me. That felt aggressive. It was probably unintentional, but it flew. Somebody took it away too. It flew across my screen. It's like, anyway. Hello from Nebraska. Hello, Jill. Hello, Corinne, Eric. Hello, everybody. I'm so pumped. So this is gonna be a fun one. Very different than other like live workshops that I've done. I'm also doing this live on YouTube. So if you are watching me from YouTube, hello, you are welcome to be here. Yeah, we're just going to learn a lot of the things. So that'll be super fun. Yes. Hello, everybody. Oh, I'm so excited that these are coming across my other chat thing too. Sometimes like the software that I use, like the chat doesn't like fully load, so I have the chat pulled up in two different places, but we're working good today. Hello, Arkansas. I saw Mass. I saw Nebraska. I saw California. Yeah, heck yeah, guys. So anyway, if you are pumped to learn about content, raise your hand in the comments. Second thing I want you to do in the comments while we're getting started, while everybody's kind of joining us, is tell me why you're creating content. Are you someone who's creating content to build a business? Are you someone who's creating content because you want to be a content creator? Like, tell me why you love or why you are creating content, why you want to create content. That's going to really help me kind of customize this presentation as we go. Nova Scotia. I've got to get to Canada. I do. I've never been, and I need to get there because I know it's amazing. I want to go to Banff. Obviously, that's probably where like everybody wants to go in Canada, but I'm going to go to Canada. Okay. So content for the business, the bookkeeping shop says, let's see what else have we got. Oh, I love the pink hand. Is that like a new emoji? Did it give you that? I love when YouTube is like, here's an emoji to use. Seems right. Build genealogy business to share Jesus with the world. Hello from Iowa. Oh, hello from Iowa. Hello from North Carolina. The joys of being multi-passionate. To drive traffic to my shop. Canada has the best iced tea. If it's sweet, we can talk about it. If it's not sweet, you can't come out with me with that. Business, lifestyle, gaming, online business, traffic for blog and digital product sales. Love all of this. Oh my gosh. Y'all are going to love this so much. Okay. So let's just jump in because I don't want to waste your time. And yeah. So we're going to talk about creating content that grows your brand and your bank account. Here's the thing with what we're going to talk about today. I want this to be a super casual conversation between you and I. Okay. So if you have a question, go ahead and drop it in the chat. If it's going to take me on a rabbit trail, I may hold it until the Q&A at the very end. But for the most part, I'll probably answer them in the moment just because a lot of times they like help me, like see where I missed context or see where, I could help you a little bit more. Okay. The Appalachians of Virginia. Yes. So we're close. Build a business, freelance book editor. So many important events in my daughter's life. She's missing digital marketing. Yes. Oh my gosh. Love all of this. Okay. So this is going to be in depth. And it's funny because my slides are the most, I don't know why that's, okay. It's okay. My slides are the most like vanilla, plain, like to the point slides I've ever created for a workshop, but this is one of the more in-depth workshops I'm doing. So that's really interesting. So today, what you're going to learn, okay, we're going to talk about how you'll make money from your content. Okay. We're going to, oh, I'm sorry. Oh yeah. The link. Oh, I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. Sorry. Anyway, sorry. I'll let my team figure that out. But how you'll make money from your content, the main rule with all of this, because there is like one main rule that I think so many people just mess up or like don't think about, or a lot of people will talk about content in a way where they just ignore this, okay? What is not working with content, what is working with content, how you can build out that for you. So find your path to success, right? What the different platforms want from you, and then what your next steps are, okay? So we're going to go through a lot, but it's actually not a long workshop. It's one of those like, let's get through this, okay? Thank you very much, Sandy. Yes, I appreciate it. All right. Hi, by the way. Hi. If you're new here, oh, look, can I make myself like way bigger? There we go. If you're new here, hi, hello. Ow! That hurts. I'm Jessica, and I just broke my knuckle on my desk. If you're new here, I'm Jessica. I have been creating the contents on the internet for a really long time. I started blogging years ago now, probably like 13 years ago. And no, more than that. My son's almost 15, so probably like 14 years ago. And I morphed from that into creating content through like live video, and then through Instagram, and then through YouTube, and then through TikTok. Like I've done all the things, okay? Yes. I'm barely live because of ADHD and stuff. So I totally get it. So anyway, that's me in a nutshell. I've created all the content. I am currently on a mission to create even better content. And that's kind of where this workshop came from was, okay, I see these trends that are happening. I want to talk about this, and let's talk about it like with my friends, right? Okay. So you want to make money from your content, right? Like a lot of you in the chat were saying you already have a business, you want to make your digital product sales, you want to get out of a bad job or whatever the scenario is. Either way, you want to make money, right? So that is the whole goal here, is to create content that makes you money. Now, how can you make this money? Oh, let me move my face up again. How can you make this money? First of all, you can have your own digital products and courses. Okay. So there's two kind of pathways. Y'all, that really hurt my hand, like hitting my desk. It reminds me of the time that I broke my toe on the way to get on a live workshop like this. And the whole time I was sitting there and I was like, oh, my toe's really numb. And then at the end of it, I was like, oh, my toe really hurts. Yeah, broke it. So that's what that reminds me of. I don't think I broke my hand, but that did hurt. So anyway, there's kind of two pathways when it comes to content to money, okay? So a lot of people, and this is where I think people get hung up in what they identify as. Like, do you identify as a business owner? Do you identify as a creator? Because those two pathways are the same and also different, right? So if you identify, if you identify as a business owner, then likely what's going to happen is you in your head are like, oh, I have these ideas. I have these ideas for courses, digital products, physical products, like coaching services, right? And I know that to get myself out there, I have to make content. My husband the other day was talking about, he's really into the the cowboy things. And so he was talking about this account that he follows on Instagram that makes custom hats. And then that led into a conversation about like an account that made custom boots, and then a custom saddle account. Like we were just talking about different things. Actually, I think he was even talking about one of my kids about it like first, and I just kind of joined the conversation. But he said in the moment, he was like, custom things like that will always have a place in this world. And they have so much more opportunity now to get their products out into the world. And I'm like, yes, they do. And all of us business owners, everybody who's creating some kind of business is the exact same way. Okay. So if that's what you're wanting to do, then I completely understand it, right? Like you're like, I know that to sell these things that I want to sell, whatever that is, I have to create content, because you do. We're just not in a world anymore where you can just be like, I have a thing, I have a business, I have a thing, and you don't create the content to get people to you, right? Then on the flip side of that, and someone in the chat just said they were leaning more towards creator, is the creator side. And I'm going to kind of explain why I want to bridge these two gaps, and you'll understand it in a second. But on the creator side, you like the art, you like the methods, you like the schedule, you like the process of creating content, or the idea. I mean, it could even just be the idea. Maybe you've not even gotten as far as liking all of those things yet. You just like the idea that you can create content and make a full-time living. And that's being a creator. And what's really cool about both of those things is that you can make money all of these ways with both, okay? So you may start as a business owner and identify as business owner and be like, I am going to sell my own digital products and courses. But when you have 100,000 followers on YouTube, you're going to have brands be like, hey girl, can I pay you? And you're going to be like, duh, of course you can, right? Or you're going to have a system or a software that you really love, and you want to be an affiliate for it because it just happens naturally in your content. People are like, wait, what are you using? You know, all of these things. And vice versa. If you start content as the job, right? Like you're a creator, you probably start and think, I'm going to get platform pay. So for instance, on YouTube, you get AdSense money, right? So I'm going to get platform pay. I'm going to get paid from the platform. I'm going to get these things. I'm going to get brand deals. I'm going to get affiliates. But eventually you're probably going to want to sell your own digital products, courses, physical products, something like that. So these are all the same thing. And it's really interesting because I know people put themselves in buckets, and I do too. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but as a business owner, you need to think with your creator hat on. And as a creator, you need to think with your business owner hat on to make all of this work together. So you make the content that leads to the money. Okay. So your content is going to be able to do all of these things. You're going to be able to sell your own digital products, do affiliates, do brand deals, physical products, like whatever you want to do, as long as you create the right type of content, which is what we're talking about. Okay. Oh, who likes my effect there? The most important part. Sorry, I don't normally put effects in my presentations, but it just felt right. You know, if you don't get views, you don't make money. Guys, y'all, insert gender neutral group term here. Okay. If you don't get views, you don't make money. If you don't get views, you don't make money. I can't hit the back button because I have the wrong window open. I do not care which of these options here you're trying to do. If you do not get views, you do not make money. And this is the part that I think people leave out when they're teaching content, and the part that people forget about. Okay. I would rather, let's say that you learned from somebody and you're like, oh, I need to create, 3 reels a week on Instagram, let's say. Okay. And you're like, I'm going to create 3 reels. And this somebody told you that those reels needed to be trending audio where you mouth over the parts and then whatever. And those 3 reels generally get you 100 views. You just don't get a lot of views on these reels, right? So now you're taking the time to create 3 reels a week, 3, 6, and 12. That's 12 reels a month. And you're getting at most 1,200 views a month, right? When in reality, I would rather you make 1 reel a week that is done the right way, a carousel a week, whatever the scenario is, a YouTube video a week. It doesn't matter. I quite literally don't care about the platform. We're going to talk about platforms, but I don't care, right? It could be all of them if you want to, but you could make 1 piece of content a week. And if it is the right piece of content, it will get more views than all of those other pieces of content together. And that's when you make the money. Okay. Because 1,200 views a month will probably make you a little money. But think about all the time that went into that. Could you do 4 videos a month, whatever that is, like reels, shorts, whatever. And those take you just a little bit more time because we're going to talk about that. But they actually get, instead of 100 views per video, they get 500 views. And you're getting like more views than you would have with the more content, right? So if you don't get views, you don't make money. So the advice that, just take some B-roll footage and put text over it and pop it up on Instagram Reels doesn't work because that doesn't get views, okay? If you don't get views, you don't make money, okay? So someone in the comments said, I've been on YouTube for 2 years, 200 plus videos, and still only get 25 views per video. Very discouraging. And yes, I've watched all the gurus. And I get that. And hopefully what you can learn from this will help a ton because you've got to get more views. Like you have to. I couldn't care less how many subscribers you have, how many, what are those things called? Followers you have. I'm like, what do they call them on Instagram? How many followers you have, how many, whatever you have. The views are what make the money. Okay. So even as someone like who's doing brand deals, right? Like brands, yes, brands look at vanity metrics. When they look at my channel and they're like, you have 200 and some odd thousand, followers, that looks really good. But then they look at the views and they pay based on the views. And generally, like a channel like mine, they're going to pay based on views of past performance. So like if I have a video that's similar to the video that we're going to do with them, and I can kind of say like, this is the standard amount of views, that's what they're going to pay based on. Okay. So views make the money, not subscribers, not followers, not consistency. It's views. Okay. And so many people miss that because they're doing cookie cutter content that does not get views. Okay, let me stop right here because I have some examples and I want to show them to you. But I want to go a little bit on a tangent again, okay? So many of the people that I see 2 different camps, okay? I see the camp of like gurus, right? That are telling you, you have to create like content to make money, right? And it's really easy. Just chop out the little vertical pieces of your video and pop that on all of these other platforms. Do a horizontal video and pop it everywhere else. Or, create, like film 4 things of B-roll and just put text over it. And so they're giving you this really cookie cutter generic advice, right? But that doesn't work, okay? So that's camp 1 that I see. Camp 2 that I see, I saw a girl the other day. I've been really trying to watch Reels more because I've been doing this like weekly series where I share what kind of content that I'm seeing on the internet and what works and blah, blah, blah. Plus I was doing some research for this workshop and some other things I've got going on. And I saw this girl when I was watching my Reels and she was which I've seen her around. I think she's an Instagram strategist. She was literally like, oh my God, I'm gaining 2,000 Instagram followers a day. And here's how I do it. And then proceeded to say that she posts 3 or 4 Instagram posts a day. Hell no. Absolutely not. Okay. You do have to be consistent, but you don't have to be like that. And that's insane, right? So cookie cutter content isn't it, but neither is flooding the algorithm. If you'll create the right kind of content, you will do well. Okay. So, and we'll talk about consistency in a minute. I saw a little chatter going on in the chat. Chatter in the chat? Some chat. Maybe, is that where that came from? Chatter in the chat? Probably. So we'll talk about that in a second. But, yeah, Sandy, ain't nobody got no time for that. I don't understand. So what do I mean by cookie cutter content? B-roll with text over it. I'll explain what I mean by that in a second if you're like, I don't know what that means. And that's very specific to Instagram, okay, or TikTok. B-roll content with text over it. That worked for a minute. But here's the thing, and here's something I want you to take away, okay? Like if you need to write it down, write 2 things down from this workshop. 1, you have to get views to make money. 2, write this down. And that is things work, like trends work, things like B-roll with text over it work for a small amount of time. So if you're constantly chasing these trends which I'm going to talk about in a second too, but B-roll is one of those. If you're going to constantly chase trends on like, oh, well, that looks really easy. And it is really freaking easy to set up your phone and get like B-roll if you're working at your desk and then put text over it and send it out into the world. That's really easy. And it worked for like a few weeks, right? Now it doesn't. But see, like everybody keeps doing it because they see this other person over here that does it, right? The other part too is a lot of times people will see that something works really well for someone else, and or that something is trending and it's working all over their feed, right? And then they get frustrated when they do it and it doesn't work. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. Like our audiences are all very different, you know, like what works for me might not work for you, might not work for her, might not work for him, you know, like whatever, right? That's one reason. Second reason is that just copying trending things does not get us anywhere. All it does is get us copying trending things. Okay, an example. Okay, so when was the last time, if I told you who was the last person that you saw on Instagram that did a B-roll or TikTok, pick a platform, I don't care, okay? Specifically a short form platform, because this is what this makes sense for. But when was the last time you saw someone put up a B-roll piece of footage with text over it and that stuck in your brain? You probably can't think of them because you see it so much. You might like it, you might share it, you might even follow them, but you can't think of them. Like off the top of your head right now, you're not like, oh, so-and-so that did that really well. But when was the last time you saw someone do something really unique and fun that you can think of off the top of your head? Probably a lot, right? And we'll go over some examples. The B-roll thing with the text over is very specific to short form content, but these other two things are specific to short form and long form. This is cookie cutter content. Doing trends, trending audios, trending things, what works for someone else, going out and saying like that worked for them, I'm going to do it too, is cookie cutter content. On long form platforms like YouTube, and I say platforms, but there's literally only one, and I don't know what this hair is doing. Sorry, I don't mean to mess with my hair, but it was making me mad. Okay. But there's one, right? One long form platform, that's YouTube. On YouTube, the cookie cutter content is the content that everybody else is doing for that same topic. And so everybody's niche, everybody's arena, everybody's audience is going to be different, right? So if I'm in the industry that I'm in and I teach people things, you know, and I teach creator things, I teach business owner things, I teach digital marketing things, and all I'm doing is like, here's 5 ways to X, here's how I do Y. That is cookie cutter content. And that is why those videos don't get views. I fight with brands over this on the regular, and I have never been proven wrong. Okay. So like right now you will see on my channel that my views are down. It is because I've been fighting with brands over this shit right here. Okay. So a brand will come to me and be like, we want to sponsor a video. And I'm like, okay, great. And I come up with this really unique idea that would do well for them. And then they're like, oh, well, we'd rather you just do like 10 ways to start a YouTube channel. No. And then they're like, yeah. And then I'm like, no. And it's because it's garbage and they're not going to get the views they need to get, and views make money. Remember? So I don't want to do this, but then they're like, yeah, we'll do it. And I'm like, okay, if you're going to pay me to create a video that doesn't do well, then whatever. And that is currently why my channel, my views are down, because I did several of those in a row for some brands. It was kind of to prove a point, to be honest, because that's not my fault. That's theirs. Right. And so it's really frustrating for me as a creator and as someone who knows YouTube like the back of my hand to know that that's not going to work. And so I say all that to say that if you are creating on YouTube, when you look at the industry standard type of video for your group of people that are watching, for your niche, like whatever you want to call it, then do something different than that. If you're just doing that over and over, you're not standing out. And to get views, to make money, you have to stand out, okay? You have to. Here are 2 examples of what I mean by B-roll with text over the screen. I am not picking on these creators at all. I literally just grabbed the first 2 that I found. Okay, so this one's like, I started my faceless account 50 days ago. Today I have 1,000 followers, whatever. And this one's, if you're nervous that sunscreen causes cancer, whatever. Okay, literally just grabbed the first 2 that I found, and it was the first 2 reels on my feed, because every reel on my feed is B-roll and text over the screen. Okay, if every reel on my feed is B-roll and text on the screen, it's not going to stand out. Are you catching what I'm putting down? Like, you have to stand out, okay? And I'm going to tell you how in a second. But that is the biggest key here. You have to get views to get money. And to get views, you have to stand out. Now, I do want to put a caveat here, and it's the text right here on my screen. These might get views for a moment, in the moment, for a minute. But it doesn't make you stand out. It doesn't bring people back. And it keeps you in this like hamster wheel of creating this same garbage content that doesn't get you to stand out, that doesn't get people to want to watch you, okay? You have to stand out. Yes, exactly. Thank you for typing that out for me. You have to stand out. Again, these kind of things could work in the moment, but they're not what leads to long-term growth. They're not what leads to long-term sustainability of your brand. They're not what leads to people recognizing you and understanding who you are and things like that. Content has to be higher lift now. People have to be entertained. People have to be able to pick you out of a lineup, okay? People have to say, oh my gosh, I love the content they create because X. I remember their content because X. And there's a lot of different ways to get people to remember our content, right? But it has to be a little bit higher lift. So I am not the person who's going to sit here and say, you should create one horizontal video and chop out a bunch of vertical pieces and put it on all the vertical platforms, and that's how you're going to grow. No, I'm not. That ain't me. I'm also not the person who's going to say, film a bunch of B-roll and put text over it, and that's how you're going to grow. No. Your content has to be specific to you. It has to stand out, and it has to be higher lift so that the people who watch it are entertained and they remember it. Okay? Yes, and I understand like that thought process. So someone in the chat said, I create text B-roll shorts mainly to get my business name out there. But that's not what you should be doing. Here's the thing too, that brings me to a good point. So a lot of times people think, and I don't even think I put this in this presentation, but we'll talk about it. A lot of times people think that you need to be putting your business name, you need to be putting what you do, you need to be putting who you are out into the internet at all times to get those sales. That should be like 20% of your content. The other 80% of your content should be entertaining and attracting the right people. Because then when you do make one of those pieces of content, there are more people there to see it and flock to the masses. Okay, example, okay? So let's say that all I ever do, I actually have a friend, I'll use my friend as an example, okay? So I have this local friend, and he owns like a customization t-shirt shop situation, okay? We've been best friends since utero. Literally, our moms were in Lamaze together, and we were born 14 days apart. 15 days apart. I had to think about that. So yes, the 80-20 rule. Exactly. If you've been on one of my workshops, you've heard me talk about this. So he owns this like shop, and I understand. First of all, let me say this. I understand that so many business owners, you did not get into the business that you're in to also have to be a content creator and a marketer. But here we are. Like, I don't know what else to say. So either you get the budget to hire somebody else to do it, which you totally can, or you have to learn these things to be able to get this, to make these splashes, because it just doesn't work another way right now. So anyway, my friend owns this customization shop here, and we live in a small town, remember, right? So he does like t-shirts, and think, like my kid plays on a travel basketball team. He did the uniforms for them, right? Or he'll do like signs for businesses, things like that, okay? And I have told him until I'm blue in my face, like my hand's going to be. I mean, that hurt, and it's still hurting. So it's bruised for sure. But anyway, so I've told him till I'm blue in the face, stop putting content on the internet that just promotes who you are, what you do, and what you sell. Stop it. Because it's not getting views. Views make money, right? So the premise here is that if you're just constantly doing that, nobody wants to be sold to all the time. Nobody's going to follow an account that is only ever selling to them. Ever. Like, that's not a thing. So instead, the strategy here should be creating content 80% of the time that just attracts the people who would want to buy from you, attracts your ideal client, attracts your ideal customer, attracts your ideal viewer, right? Create that content. That then gets more views on your stuff, gets more eyeballs, gets more views on your stuff. So that in the 20% of the time when you say, this is what I sell, this is my thing, more people are there to buy it. Because if you don't get views and you don't get people coming to your content because all you're doing is ever selling, then you don't have the eyeballs there to make the sale when you do want to sell. But if you will spend 80% of the time garnering those people, gathering those people, creating content that is higher lift, that entertains people, that gets people into the fold, when you go to sell, you have more eyeballs there. Okay? So that's just where we're at, guys. I don't know what else to say. Okay? So yeah, if you've been on a workshop before, you have heard me talk about the 80-20 rule. Okay? So what does it mean for content to be higher lift? What does it mean that people have to be entertained? Okay. So first things first, I want you to pick one platform. Okay. And then be consistent as heck on that platform. Okay. So I don't care what platform you pick. I honestly couldn't care less. Now I'll give you like a little bit of a rundown of what each of these platforms is going to require of you and like what this looks like for you. But understand that the platform doesn't matter. I mean, it does matter in some ways, but it really doesn't matter. Okay. So if your ideal customer, if your ideal viewer, if your ideal person is on TikTok, be on TikTok. If they're on Instagram, be on Instagram. If they're on YouTube, be on YouTube. If they're on all three, pick the one that you want to create content on the most. Okay. But pick one. I do not want you creating content on a million different platforms because you are a solopreneur. You are not out here with a whole social media team behind you. You are not someone who can just like, oh, I'm going to create for Instagram and for TikTok and for YouTube and do this thing and do that thing, right? I have a team, and it is still very hard for me to create 1 to 2 YouTube videos a week and then also create short form content that I'm sharing on all the other platforms, because that's our strategy right now. That's very hard. And I have 2 full-time employees. Most of the time I don't get that done every week, right? So I don't want that for you. I want you to pick one platform and commit to consistency. So somewhere in the chat, and I'll look at it in a second, but somewhere in the chat, y'all were talking about consistency and how you've been on YouTube and, you just haven't been consistent. That is such a key to this process, is being consistent. And being consistent in a way where the platform knows you're not going to ghost them. So I told somebody the other day, and they said that it was like the thing that stuck out with them. I did a local workshop, and I had this girl come up to me and be like, the thing that stuck out to me was this. And that was, I'd rather you be not consistent. I'd rather you not create content than be inconsistent. I won't say that again. I would rather, and I say I would rather because the algorithms would rather, you not create content than be inconsistent. And here's why. Let's take YouTube, for example, because the person in the comments said YouTube, and then also like YouTube's like the one I know the best. Okay. So YouTube, let's pretend that YouTube is a boyfriend. Okay. A girlfriend. I don't care. Pick your gender. I couldn't care less. Okay. But let's say it's a boyfriend. And you start up this relationship with this boyfriend, and everything is going great. You've went on a few dates. Everything's good. You show up when you're supposed to. He calls you and is like, I want to meet you now. And you're like, yes, absolutely. Right. And you show up when you say you're going to show up, and everything is just picture perfect. And then let's say that you guys plan a date for Tuesday and you just ghost him. You just ghost him. Like, you don't show up. You don't give him a reason. You don't tell him why. You don't explain anything. You don't like set up a time for another date. Like, you just are gone. You ghost him. He's going to be like, what are you doing? You know? And then the next time you pop back up and you're like, hey, I want to go on another date, he's going to be a little bit more skeptical. He's going to be like, you literally just ghosted me. We had a date for Tuesday and you did not show up. And you didn't call. And you didn't tell me why. And you didn't do anything. And you're going to be like, no, I promise. Here, like, let's go on a date right now. Like, this is amazing. Here's the date, right? And then you go on that date and it's amazing. And you do that again for a couple weeks. And then all of a sudden you drop off the face of the earth again. The next time you come back, he's really going to be like, I do not trust you. That is what the algorithm is doing to you. That's what you're doing to the algorithm. You are quite literally telling the algorithm you're not going to be consistent and that they shouldn't trust you. The algorithm's whole job is to pair the right viewer with the right piece of content. And this is every algorithm out there, okay? The right viewer with the right piece of content. If you are giving them the right piece of content, but they think that you are going to be inconsistent and not show back up with more content like that, they are not going to push your content out to the people because they're not going to disappoint them. Imagine if your favorite show, like, I need to finish Handmaid's Tale. Honestly, it's a little too close for comfort right now, but I need to finish it. And I've watched a couple of the episodes of this season, so nobody spoil it, okay? But I need to finish it. But imagine that the Handmaid's Tale was like, I think it's Sunday. Every Sunday we're going to release a new episode, right? And every Sunday you're like, yes. And you go and you watch it and you watch like 3 episodes on Sunday. And then one Sunday they just don't release an episode. No explanation, no reason why. They didn't tell you why. And then they release a couple more. And then for 3 Sundays, they don't release one. And you're like, what is going on? You're going to forget about that show. The next time it just pops up in Hulu, you're not going to pay attention to it. You're going to have moved on to another show. So that is why consistency is so important. So someone asked about Substack. Substack is it Tuesdays? Okay. Substack is great. It's just a written platform. So it's just a little bit different than a lot of these other things that we're talking about. So the same rules are going to apply though. Like, the same rules are going to apply. You still have to create good content. You still have to entertain people. You still have to be consistent. So yeah, it's just written, and that's why I didn't put it on here, because I'm talking a lot about video. So someone asked if you could put the same video on different platforms, or is that a no-no? It's a yes, with 2 caveats. 1, yes, you absolutely can put the same video on different platforms if you have the capacity to do that without taking away from other things that you need to get done, right? So I'm saying one platform. So if you create for TikTok and then you're also going to put it on Instagram and YouTube Shorts, if you can do that without then missing your upload schedule on Instagram, okay, cool. Second thing, create for the platform that you pick though. All of these platforms want different things, even though they're short form vertical content. And I'll explain that in a minute. But if you're creating content that's better suited for TikTok, but Instagram is your main platform, you're going to be really disappointed by putting it on all the platforms, right? So on Instagram, and just a little bit about consistency here. On Instagram, they're going to want like 3 times a week, 2 reels, 1 carousel. That seems to be the magic formula. Now, excuse me, I have seen people starting to get away with 2 carousels, 1 reel. It kind of just depends on the account. So for instance, we manage thank you, Corrine. So we manage a local town social media, and we were doing 2 reels a week, 1 carousel. And we still are right now, but we are moving to a 2 carousel, 1 reel per week strategy on Instagram for them, because we get more engagement through carousels where people are scrolling through photos of the town. That's not always going to be the case. Everybody's going to be a little bit different, but Instagram is going to be 3 times per week. General recommendation, 2 reels, 1 carousel. Okay. TikTok, you're looking at like 3+ times per day. Yeah. Now, The lift of TikTok is a little bit different, and I'll talk about that in a second, but that's kind of the consistency we're looking at. And then YouTube, we're looking at, oh my gosh, my hair is so tangled. 1 time per week for long form, plus more if you have the capacity, and then shorts when needed. I'm not a big fan of building a YouTube channel with shorts because especially caveat, if you want to eventually have long form content on that channel, because the shorts viewers will be shorts viewers. They won't be long viewers. Okay. Someone asked, Gray said, how long is considered long form? Anything over, well, honestly, anything that's not a vertical short form piece of content, anything horizontal that's on YouTube horizontally. Does that make sense? So that's what I would consider long form. Okay. Yes, there are standards around like how long it needs to be. I would make every long form video over 8 minutes because then you can put ads in it once you become monetized. But there's not like a real standard there. What's the point in social media? Because everyone is selling something and always being sold to. Exactly, Kristen. And that's what we don't want people to feel like. Like, we don't want your audience to feel like that. We want them to be entertained and have fun. Okay. So as far as the type of content that you're going to create for each of these platforms, Instagram is going to be more produced content. Again, the B-roll with the text over the screen is not working. Okay. So more produced content. I'll explain what I mean by that in a second. Okay. I don't mean highly produced. I don't even mean YouTube quality, but more produced content. Okay. TikTok is going to be more story style content. The people who get views and do well on TikTok are the people who are setting up their phone. And my phone's on a charger, or I would push this further. But the people who are setting up their phone and talking to TikTok like they were talking to their Instagram stories, right? So if you've ever created Instagram stories where you talk to the camera, doing TikToks in that style is what works. And that's why creating 3 TikToks per day in that style isn't as heavy lift as even creating like a produced Instagram reel, right? On YouTube, you're also getting more produced content. The expectation of quality on YouTube, especially for horizontal long form content, is much higher than these other platforms. Okay. So just keep that in mind. But you have to make the content yours. Okay. Stop worrying about what other people are doing and do content that only you can make. How do you do that? With series and your own style. Okay. Oh, my face is over Peter McKinnon's face. We cannot let that happen. I'm going to move my little bubble up here. Okay. So series, if you are doing short form content specifically right now, that's not a word. Series are the way you're going to grow. Series in your own style of content. Okay. So these 2 right here below me are really good examples. I'm sorry I don't have the creators' names. It didn't screenshot when I was screenshotting them. I should have, but here we are. So 52 Fridays. This girl's content I came across, she seems to live somewhere like very tropical, like maybe Hawaii or Australia. I think she had an accent. But she's like, my life didn't feel like I could film it. Like it felt like it was too boring. So now I'm filming every Friday for the year. So here's my series, 52 Fridays. And then she like recaps what is happening in the video. So that's a series. Every single week for 52 Fridays, she is going to release this same thing. What content on her channel? Now she does other content too. I think she had some food content when I was looking. She had some just like day in the life. What content do you think is getting the most views? The series. Now, is every single video just barreling out of there? No, but the series is what's doing it, okay? Not only that, but she has her own style. It was very fast-paced. We can watch a few of these here in a minute for me to show you kind of what I mean by this. But series. Here's another one, like how I edit, episode 4, the art of voiceovers. So she's doing a whole series that is like, here is what I'm going to teach you. This is how you gain a following who remembers you, who remembers what's going on, who wants to come back for what you are talking about. A series and plus also your own style. Now on YouTube, series still do well. I'm not saying they don't, but really having your own style to your content is what's going to do the best in long form horizontal content. So these two examples I have over here. So this one is, I studied 100 artists. Here's why they're not growing online. She could have said why your art content is not growing. She could have said 5 reasons why your art channel is not growing. No, I studied 100 artists. Here's why they're not growing online. And she actually has screenshots of the people she has studied. That is different. That is in her own style. That is something that people are going to remember and come back for, right? Peter McKinnon, if you've been around here long enough, you know how much I love him. So he is a great example of just having his own friggin' style. He does a camera review. It's going to be in a completely different style than everybody else who put one out on the internet that day. If he does a video about like this right here, this video is about like how much I think it's about the camera. I think this is a new camera. And so instead of being like Canon X, Y, or Z camera review, he's like, bring it everywhere. And it's a whole think piece about how you should bring your camera everywhere to get better at your craft, right? So series specifically for vertical content and your own style is what's going to set this apart. Here's another really good example. If you don't follow Elise Myers, where have you been? But she's another really, really great example of series and her own style. And she does pretty low lift content. So like when we're looking back at those people that I was just mentioning and we were like, and I was like, they like 52 Fridays or, here's how I edit episode 4. That's kind of high lift content. And I did say that high lift content is what we need to do, but here's a low lift way to also do that same style of content, if that makes sense. So Elise Myers got famous by, her taco story, which is the one on the left. She told all of these crazy stories. She has all of these crazy stories that everybody else does not have. And she tells them in the most unique way possible. Okay. So she told this entire story about how she went on the craziest date and he ordered 100 tacos and then like brought her home to like eat them with his dad. And then she had to pay for the tacos and then she like stole all the tacos and ran away. And she told it in this really unique way. She was like, what was the worst date I've ever been on? Great question. I'd love to tell you. Right. And she then proceeded to make that a series. Great question. I'd love to tell you. She now has a book called Great Question I'd Love to Tell You. Okay. Because of this series that she almost inadvertently, odds are, did on her TikTok. Also, she does these like funny ones where she has her computer as like a slideshow, and it'll usually be like really like funny, odd things. So like this one is like top 6 inspirational quotes I recently overheard on an airplane. There was also one that I saw that I didn't screenshot that was like, here's ways that I think that you should, like as a therapist, you could like get closer to your clients. And they were just funny things, right? But in this same style, that's hers. It feels very natural to her because it is natural to her, right? And if someone else did either of those two things, okay, and this is a really good point. If someone else started a video with, what was the worst date I've ever been on? Great question, I'd love to tell you. Or if somebody else started a video with like the computer open and showing the thing, but it being like something really silly and fun, you would instantly think, if you knew Elise, you would be like, oh, they're copying her content. The same thing goes back here. If you knew these creators and then you saw someone else doing something similar, you would be like, oh, that's their content. Like they're copying their content, right? You need to be the one that people are like, no, that's so-and-so's style of content. Okay. So series and your own style. I highly recommend using ChatGPT. Okay. This is actually, I know it's faded out in the background because I was going for like, the look, but hopefully you can read some of this. These are actually ideas that I got from ChatGPT yesterday. I was like, listen, I need some fresh eyeballs on my content. Okay. I need some like different things that I'm not thinking of. Okay. And I need you to help me. And we workshopped some long form content ideas. And then I was like, hey, what about, ideas for a short form series along these same lines? And it came up with several series, and I was like, oh, I love that one. And then it came up with ideas for that series. And then it helped me like come up with like whatever. And now again, it's not perfect. If it gave me 10 ideas, I like 2 of them, right? But it helped me spark those ideas. And because I have trained it, because I know, because it knows me, right? Because it's like, oh, I know that you're XYZ. I know that whatever, whatever. It's going to be able to give me better ideas. Example, what is this? I don't know. I just had like a weird pop-up happen on my thing. But anyway, example, if it knew that I'm a sports mom, right? Sorry, I got distracted because there was like a weird pop-up, but I think we're good. It knows that I'm a sports mom. So one of the series that it came up for me was while my kids are at practice. And it just came up with ideas that were like, oh, while my kid was at practice, I filmed an entire ad for the chapstick at the bottom of my purse. Like, that's amazing, right? And I really love that. And I put it on a list of ideas to do. So use ChatGPT just to get your brain flowing. Because I guarantee a lot of you are looking at this and you're like, I don't know. Go use ChatGPT. Say, hey, I'm wanting to create a short form series that's going to attract this type of person. This is who I am. This is what I'm trying to sell eventually, blah, 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 right? And I want to create a series, and can you help me with that? It might come back with something that's like not your style, not your personality. Tell it that. Right? So for instance, with my series, I was like, nope, those are too serious. I want like fun and funky and like really lighthearted series. I don't want to be like teaching. I just want to like do this thing. And it was like, oh, okay. And then eventually we got to the point where it was really good. So when you're trying to come up with your style or your series, go talk to ChatGPT. Let it help you. I promise it will help. Okay. Because I still do that. And I also come up with ideas on my own pretty good at this point. Okay. So many people are looking for hacks. Okay. So many people are looking for hacks. And I think that's the part that is screwing people over. Everybody's like, oh, I just want a hack. How can I like get 1 million views on an Instagram video? How can I make a YouTube video go viral? How can I do this thing? How can I whatever? Your path to faster is by learning the skills to put all of this together. So someone just said in the comments, like, I have some homework to do. Yes, exactly. So instead of thinking in the thought process that, oh, I have to hack my way to success, right? Like, oh, so-and-so did a video about this, so I should do a video about this, and that's a hack. Or so-and-so did B-roll footage and put text over it, and it worked really well for them. And the last time I did that, it worked well. And so I'm just going to do that because that's a hack. That's not a hack. What you really need to do is sit yourself, and I do mean like sit yourself into the creator seat. Be a creator. I know that you're business owners, most of you, right? I know that you're trying to sell the things, and I understand that you didn't create the business to have to be a creator, but we are where we are. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we can't fix that. We can't change that. As much as we can bitch about it, as much as we can be like, oh my God, I wish I wasn't having to create content. That's not what I started my business for. It's where we are. And outside of just hiring a person, which you can totally do if you have the budget, you just have to gain the skills to do the things. And when we're talking about skills, we're talking about things like how to edit, right? Like, how do you edit long form videos? How do you edit short form videos? How do you hook your viewers? This is a big deal, right? No matter the series and the style of content you do, if you're not hooking them to stay past the first couple seconds, they're not going to stay. Finding your style. Like, how do you find your style? How do you know what that is? You know, like, you've got to get that skill. Having the eye. Oh my gosh, this is a YouTube video that I want to do. So there's a lot of people, and I know that, right? Like I have done photography or videography or some kind of visual, like creative art since I was little, right? And so it's very easy for me after having all of that experience just as a human, but also like growing up with it in my child brain. So like my adult brain understood it better. And then also being that, like having that creative part, it is really easy for me to like frame a photo, right? Like if I go out and I'm like, oh, I want to take a really good photo of my kids, I'm going to take a really good photo of my kids without really thinking about it very, very much. There's a lot of people who don't have that eye, right? And the frame is going to be off, and that photo is not going to stick out because there was no eye there, right? So like learning the skill of like having the eye, learning how to storytell, learning how to increase the quality on your content, learning the platforms, learning how to get brand deals, how to get affiliate partnerships, how to make the most of them, how to create your own digital products and courses. Like all of these things are skills that you're going to have at this point to create the content that makes the sales. So someone said they really enjoy creating content. Same. I love it. And I love thinking about like my next piece of content. I love editing in different ways. I love hooking viewers and like figuring out ways to like, you know, get them in more. I love thinking about like, how can I tell this story better? Right. And we all have to get into that method, or at least like learn those things to succeed. Okay. And the cool part is that I have all this for you. Okay. So I have this thing that includes all of these courses. Oh, actually, let's talk about these courses first. So, and I'm going to do a Q&A here in just a minute. So hang tight with me. Okay. So I have all of these courses. These are all the courses that I just have. Okay. Like that you could go buy right now. Actually, my website is under construction, but you could normally go buy them. So I have a course on how to create courses so you can sell that way. I have YouTube Rockstars, which is my signature course on how to actually have a YouTube channel. Thanks, Susie. I have a course on affiliate marketing, which I've always had. So that's one of my like signature courses too. I have a course about landing brand deals, how to pitch them, how to price them, how to get them to pay you when they won't, like all of these things, viral digital products, all of that. I have the Start Smart guide, which is kind of like how do you set up all of these accounts to get started. DaVinci Resolve is my new favorite video editor, so we have a course on that. The Art of Storytelling, that one's coming soon. I've got to put a few more pieces together, and I didn't want to release it without it being like really good. And then we have a new course called Viral Vids. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. You can see my vision board in the back. Viral Vids, which is quite literally telling you more, like just more in depth of what we talked about today, like how to make videos viral, how to hook them, how to make them go viral. iPhoneography, again, that one's coming soon. I've got to get out and get some like real life footage and teach you. That's the one where I'm going to teach you how to have like the eye, and all of that stuff. We have a template library. So I have ClickUp templates and Chat GPT templates. Oh my God, why can't I talk? Chat GPT templates. I saw somebody say like figuring out the prompts were like really hard for them. I've got those in there. And then probably most importantly here, actually, let me go ahead and say this, and then I'll say most importantly what I've got here. What we've done is we've taken all of these courses that I already have, okay, that you could go buy separately. Like YouTube Rockstars is $1,000. Affiliate Marketing Mastery is $500. Course Academy is $1,000, right? Land the Brand is $100. Viral Digital Product, if you buy the whole bundle, is something like $400. So we've taken all of these things that you can buy separately and bundled them, okay? Bundled them. And so we're calling it content that converts, because what it is it's two sections, right? It's creating the content that actually works, editing, storytelling, actually filming on your iPhone, things like that. And then actually making that convert to sales, whether that sale is brand deals or your own things or your own digital products or affiliates or courses or whatever. Okay. So my background is in teaching all of this stuff. And I'm like, why the hell am I not bundling this up and just letting y'all have it for cheaper than it would ever be before? Right. So you can actually get all of these things today for like $2.99. Now that's a payment plan, but like you can get started today. And again, iPhoneography and the Art of Storytelling are the two that need to be dumped in there. And they are going to be in there very, very, very soon. So like no worries. So this all access pass, the really big thing I want to tell you about that's in it, before I go into some more details, is the Creator Collective. So this is a Slack channel that is only available to you guys, right? To anybody who gets in the all access pass, to anybody who gets in content that converts, okay? It's a Slack channel. And so you can go in there and you can ask whatever questions you have about anything that you learn, right? Oh, I'm creating a digital product. Can you help me? I'm on YouTube, and like, for instance, somebody said, like, I'm on YouTube and I only get 25 views per video. Can you look at my channel? Like, things like that, you can use the Creator Collective for. I'm in there. I send personalized voice notes all the time, like literally like, hey, yeah, this is what I would do. I will type back and forth. You also have access to your peers in there, which is really cool. So that's a really big deal. So inside of this all access pass, again, I'm teaching you how to make the money, how to create the content, right? So we've got courses that are going to teach you the money. We're going to have courses that teach you the content. What happens with this, and I could actually pull up the sales page and show you too. But what happens with this content that converts all access pass is that you get access to all of these forever, okay? Like literally, this is your access forever. Once you purchase, you have them all forever, okay? And for the next 12 months, you get access to any course that I release, which there's 3 guaranteed beyond the ones that are coming soon. Those are just already included. It's just they weren't quite ready to put in for today. So you get access to any course that I release for the next year, which will be in this same format, content or converting, right? Like one or the other. You will have access to me and those other people in the Slack channel in the community for 12 months. And you will get 12-month access to my exclusive podcast where I'm like explaining things in a higher level, or even putting some things in that like just happened, right? Like, oh, this big thing just happened. Let me tell you about it. Let me tell you what my thoughts are on it, that kind of thing. I don't do my actual podcast anymore. So that's a really big deal. And it's a really fun place to hang out with me. Okay. Now, that all being said, there's more courses, there's more content, there are more resources coming all the time inside of this. And by the way, the link to purchase is right down there, and someone else on my team also put it in the chat. But if you grab it during this workshop, we're going to do a Q&A here in just a second, okay? And I'm also going to show you some more content that I want to show you. But if you grab it right now, you will get an extra 12 months in the community, access to new content, and access to that podcast. So let me explain. Everything that's in there now, right, you get access to forever, okay? For the next 12 months, you get access to, like anything new. If you grab it now, you get access to anything new for 24 months. I release a lot of courses. And anytime, especially that I see y'all, right? Like, especially the people in my community be like, how do I do this? And I don't have a course for it. We put a course together. We put a guide together. We put an audio lesson together. So you'll get 2 years of access to anything new that I put out. Anything new. Even if you've paid for it a year ago, okay? 2 years of access to that community, which honestly is probably the best part. And then 2 years of access to that secret podcast. Okay. So that's only for people who purchase on the workshop. Everybody else only gets 12 months of access. Okay. You will also get a custom content audit. So what that is I don't care about the platform. If you are creating content on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on whatever, I will do a custom audit of your content and tell you what I think you should be doing, what you could be doing better, that kind of thing, okay? And you get it at the founding member price, which is $1,000 off of what it's going to be normally. So we're opening the doors to this today, obviously, and it's $1,500 if you pay all up front, and there's payment plans, so don't worry. But that's $1,000 less than what it's going to sell for when the doors close to this workshop or to this offer on Monday. Okay. So you are getting it for $1,000 off. And if you purchase on the workshop, you get those other 2 bonuses. Okay. So someone asked what a Slack channel was. So essentially it is a community. And I saw where somebody said they didn't like Slack. I'm sorry. I have had my like fair share of liking and not liking Slack. I'll give you that. But essentially it's a community where you can go in and you can access it on your phone. You can access it on your computer, like whatever you want to access it on. And you can like have conversations, talk, start threads. Like it's kind of like a Facebook group, but a bit more organized. And I have more option to come like to help you. So for instance, in a Facebook group, I can't just send you a voice note back to a question that you had. And that's my preferred method because I am driving back and forth to my kids and like whatever else all the time. So voice notes are like just the easier thing for me. So in a Facebook group, I can't just voice note you. In a Slack group, I can. In a Facebook group, I can't just like pop up a video that has like me scribbling on my iPad and showing you something. In Slack, I can. So that's why we use Slack. And yeah, it is like Discord. It is very similar to Discord. Absolutely. I tried Discord and hated it. So we went with Slack. Okay. So heyjessica.com/all access, but also my team put that in there. The bookkeeping shop question is the 24-month and audit, the pay in full. No. So these bonuses, this 24-month and the audit are either payment plan or full bonus, full pay bonus. There we go. It's just for purchasing right now. There are other full pay bonuses on there on the sales page. So if you did want to do a full pay bonus, you get one of those. However, this is for anybody, whether you do the payment plan or the full pay, as long as you purchase while we're still on this workshop, which we're going to do a Q&A. Those are the bonuses you get. So great question. Does anybody have any questions about this All Access Pass, about content that converts? Before we get into like any questions, because I'll answer whatever questions you've got. So someone said, how can I decide which social media platform is best to start with? That's a great question. So I actually have a Start Smart guide inside content that converts. And it is going to teach you, so I'm sorry. Let me pause. It has a quiz. Let's put it that way. I actually have built out a quiz for this exact question inside there. And you take this quiz, it's like 6 questions. And it's going to tell you which platform it thinks that you would be best on. And then obviously, like, this is also a personal choice. Like, if the quiz tells you YouTube and you're like, no, then don't do YouTube, right? But I do have a quiz in that Start Smart guide to help you figure this out. But also, whatever you figure out in the Start Smart guide, I have the exact, like, how to start, on those platforms. So thank you so much, Veronica. I appreciate it. So I understand that question and I preemptively have figured that out for you. Any other questions about the actual offer? And again, you just have to purchase while I'm on. Oh, what is that? Sorry, one of my kids. Oh, sorry. A teacher just tried to call me and I was making sure my kid was okay and he needs a pair of shoes. I'm not bringing this child a pair of shoes. I bet you I have to bring him a pair of shoes to school twice a week because I ask him every single day when he walks out the door, are you sure you don't have PE? And he says, yeah, I'm sure. Because he'll be wearing like slides or something. And then I get a call from the teacher that he needs shoes. So thank goodness that wasn't like anything, anything that's a problem. By what time? I'm on a meeting right now, but can in a bit. This child. I'm going to start just putting a pair of shoes in his book bag. It'll smell and nobody cares. Anybody have any questions about the offer? If not, first of all, you can grab it anytime. Those bonuses are anytime until we get off this call, okay? So as soon as I hit end and we're done with this, those bonuses are gone, okay? The only bonuses that are left are going to be the fact that it is a founding member price and all of those things, okay? So if you have questions about anything else we talked about today, I'd love to hear them. I probably missed some up through there, but yeah, I'm going to go grab the link to the question doc that my team provided. So someone said they didn't understand Discord. I didn't understand Discord either, so I get that. I really did try Discord and it just didn't work. So yeah. I'm really excited about this all access situation because it allows me to be able to like pave the path for you to create whatever content you want to create. And if everybody's like, oh my God, we need more TikTok trainings, I'll bring in a TikTok expert, right? Like this is kind of a moldable path for you to say, I want to create content that makes money. Whether you're coming in from the business side and you're like, I already know how I'm going to make the money, but I need the content help. Or you're coming in from the content side and you're like, oh, I need to make my content better, but I also need the business help. Yeah. GroupMe seems the easiest. You know, I was actually in GroupMe, and I don't feel like it had the features that I wanted, but also I think that's been a while. So I get that. Yay, Susie. So glad to have you inside. The bookkeeping shop. I'm sorry. You said your name was Veronica? I keep saying the bookkeeping shop. Besides the Slack channel, will you host any live sessions? No. So the reason I don't, and let me just explain that. The reason I don't is because I don't feel like that's what is best for you guys. Because what happens inevitably, and I have hosted a lot of live calls in my life, inevitably is like, oh, we're going to do like a call once a month on Zoom or whatever. And that's great. But inevitably it will not work out at the time or the day or the whatever for 90% of the group. And then it's like, okay, well, I can't do it another time because I have a certain schedule. And then people are mad because they can't whatever, and they can't do this thing. So I offer it asynchronously. So what that means is you can ask your question anytime you want to. You don't have to wait on a call, right? You don't have to wait on Monday's call to ask that question. And I can still respond back with my voice, with a tutorial of some sort, with looking at your channel or looking at a sales page or like whatever you want me to do. And actually, I can spend more time answering your question than I can on a call. So I just don't love calls. I think they're not as productive as they could be. And also, when you need help in the moment. And that's kind of like my goal there. So good question, though. Oh, hold on. Let's see. Boop, boop, boop. I just want to say that I can't believe I have followed you for a decade. I love your content. Oh, my God. Yeah, a decade is a long damn time. I know. I was telling somebody the other day that I'd been in business as old as my kid. And I was like, my kid was there, and he's almost 15, and he's 6'2", and I'm like 5'6". So he's significantly taller than me, right? So like that feels old. I'm like, oh, that's a really long time. Let's see. I wanted to thank you for this. You've been one of my favorite YouTube teachers for the longest time. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you. I so appreciate that. Would love to sign up. Isn't possible right now. Hubs said not in budget. I totally get that. But love your work, and one day, thanks for all you do. My name is Blake or Cassandra. Which one? Okay. If I had to pick a favorite community, it'd be Circle, but I can live with Slack. Okay, good. So we actually had Circle, and I didn't like it. I felt like it was disorganized, but I mean, I guess everybody's just very different, right? Not sure if you mentioned this, but what do I use to go live? OBS. No. So I don't use OBS because OBS bogs the shit out of every computer I've ever had. And I have like really high end like Mac computers that shouldn't get like bogged down. Okay, Blake, awesome. So I use Ecamm. So I can type that in the chat. It's called Ecamm Live. I'm sure I have an affiliate link for it. My team will probably type it. But it's called Ecamm Live. And it's a one-time fee. I'm pretty sure. I don't think I pay for it like on the regular. At least it wasn't when I got it. It may be now. But anyway, it is a much simpler version of OBS. And I can have my face okay, hold on. So I can have my face, and then I can like switch back to this. And then if I wanted to play a video, I could do that. And I can type, and I can move myself around, right? And I can make myself bigger. I do really love it. I can also add like filters. Where's my buttons? Okay, there they are. Oh, okay. Never mind. I found them. So I can also add like filters and change things. So I can mirror myself back and forth, or like turn myself black and white or whatever. So yeah, I love it. I'll put the link there. Or not the link, but the name of it. So that hopefully that helps. I just got 7,000 emails, each with access to one course. Sorry. We'll fix that. So I will say we are thinking about possibly moving our delivery system to another platform. So I'm sorry. And thank you for telling us, because that allows us to fix it for other people. I appreciate that. So Bridget, you might want to listen to that one. I loved OBS at one point, but it was horrible for lag and capacity. Yes. I hated it. It lagged every computer I ever had. Every time I type in a question into YouTube, you always have a video for it. It's because I've been creating content. I'm like a grandma. So my whole goal this year is to create more content that is just different than what I've created before. And that's a lot of the reason that I'm like teaching you guys this too, is because I can teach you along the way and like, okay, this worked, this didn't work. Here's what I see is working best on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube right now. Because I'm on all of the platforms, and while I'm not trying to grow all of the platforms necessarily, I am putting content on all of the platforms. And so I can see what works the best for these. And that's really exciting. So yeah, any other questions? I'm sorry you got a million emails, Susie. Hopefully you get access either way. Any other questions? The teacher said, he needs them at least by 2:10. I'll let him explain this to you. Okay. I've been on YouTube since my oldest was 2. He's going to be 16. I get that. Oh, I think somebody else grabbed a seat. Yay. I'm so pumped for you guys. Like, I'm seriously so excited. So excited for those of you that are getting in. And I'm excited for the things that are going in. Like the iPhoneography class that is like this close to being done is so good. Like, it is literally like I dumped every bit of photography knowledge that I have, and then also positioned it for the iPhone or any phone. It doesn't have to be iPhone. I called it iPhoneography. And it's so good. And I'm like, oh my God, that is so amazing. So I'm so excited for you guys to get your hands on this. Susie, I'm wildly excited too. I want to play small, just me at the moment. Which course would you recommend? Okay, that is totally fine. So it depends on what platform or what your goal is. So which one should I get first? I assume that's the same, like a similar question. Which course should you get first? So tell me what your goals are. Tell me where you're at. Okay. I totally get that, Kristen, sorry. And, Miss Oris, who also asked that question. So tell me, okay. Miss Oris says Insta. She's focusing on Instagram. So there's a course called Viral Vids that I would probably recommend for Instagram. It is not listed on the site right now though. And that's just because it's brand new and we're also redoing the website. So what I'm going to do is I am going to type in our customer service email right here, and email us, and Bridget will get you a login or, an access page. Okay. So I totally understand that you're overwhelmed, Andy. Tell me how I can help. 'Cause I will help point you in like the right direction, whether it's a video on my YouTube channel or something like that. Oh, you have no social media. You are very welcome. So you have no social media. So tell me what your goal is then. Like, what is the goal? Do you want to be a content creator? Do you have a business and you're trying to grow that? Like, tell me where we're at. Andy, just be consistent. Yes, definitely be consistent, but also, there's a lot more that goes into it. You know what I mean? So be consistent, be different, and create content that only you can create, which is kind of the hard part. I'll probably spend more time consuming than creating. You know yourself, right? Like, that is such a big deal. And I think a lot of people are there, but don't do that to yourself with free resources either. Okay. So the reason that I like to do, or the reason that I started this, is that there's like a pathway, right? Like, if you want to learn this, do that. If you want to learn this, do that. There's also like access to me to ask questions. So when you're consuming free content, it can be really easy to also get in that rhythm. So just like be careful either way. But I completely understand that. I'm an action taker. So have you ever taken that? It's a personality quiz. I forget what it's called. Hold on, I'll think of it. I think it's the Colby, like Kobe Bryant. I think it's the Colby, and it tells you, like, it ranks you on like different areas. And there's one area that's called a quick start, and it basically like let's say the highest you can get is a 9, I think, which is what it is. It's been a long time since I've taken it, but it's called a quick start, and it basically is someone who, like, when they have an idea, like from idea to execution, how quick do they get it done? And I score the highest possible score on that, because I, like, as soon as I get an idea, I execute on it. But also that's a lot of the reason that I want to give you the community. And I knew that giving this many courses in one bundle without a community would be a really big deal, because it's really easy for you to pop into the community and be like, hey, here's where I am. Where should I start? Or here's where I am. I already did this. What's my next step? We're also going to be putting a roadmap in there. It should be in there by the end of today/tomorrow. That is literally going to help you say, like, oh, if you don't have any social media, here's where you need to start. If you are here, here's where you need to start. And it'll hopefully walk you through it. Oh, there's lots of questions coming in now. Okay. If I don't have ideas for a full few months worth of content, should I still start YouTube? Or would you say I'm only going to be successful if I fully produce videos instead of a girlfriend channel? Yeah, that's a good question, Andy. So you don't have to have that many ideas. You just need to stay that far ahead. So what I like to recommend is that we at least have 2 videos in the bank, so that if we get behind or whatever, we can very quickly like put out a video. So I recommend having like at least being a month ahead on your ideas, and then having a couple of videos in the bank to kind of cover our butts if we need to. And I do talk about how to get those ideas in YouTube Rockstars, which is in the bundle. Will you ever do a YouTube video on money blocks? I'm always pricing too low or feel like the value isn't there. No, probably not, just because that's not my expertise. However, that sounds like a really, really good episode of the Secret Podcast. So it's called Field Notes, and essentially I will do a lot of things like that, where it's not content I would normally put up on my other platforms, or a course. I'm not really the expert in the thing, so I'm not going to do the course, but I do know enough about it to like help you through it in like a 30-minute podcast episode. So that sounds like a really great thing. So Bruce, there is no discount coupon. It's the price. It's $1,500 with a payment plan option, and it's just the price on there. You don't need to use a coupon to get that price. I'm more of a creator than a business, but because of my channel's topic, I'm lost of what types of products I could do. Ooh, tell me what kind of, I mean, I see obviously that it's like maybe teddy bears or toys. I'm not sure. Tell me what your channel's about, Tabitha, and we can like, I can throw out some ideas. I definitely using ChatGPT about the series ideas. Oh my gosh, it was like my favorite thing. I was like, no, I don't really love that. Or, I want this to go in a different direction. And it came up with 2 series that I was like, yes, I want to do both of those. And I think that's really good. ChatGPT can be really good to help you like pivot your content. So a lot of people will want to say like, I've been doing this amount of this kind of content, and I want to switch into doing this kind of content. ChatGPT is really great to say, I've been doing this content. Here's where I want to go. What is some middle of the road content to help me bridge that gap? It's great there too. If I want to start, oh my gosh, hold on. My button's not working. If I want to start posting a different style of videos on TikTok, should I delete the old ones that barely got any views, and are a style that didn't work well? No. So you have 2 options. I wouldn't delete the old ones. I just wouldn't take the time, honestly. I would either start a new account and start fresh, especially if you have no followers. That's what I would do. Okay, let me put it that way. If you have less than 100 followers and like it's no skin off your back to do that, that's what I would do. I would delete the account, start a new account, and start over. If you like manage to garner several followers and you don't want to delete the account, then I would just start over with the new kind of content that you want to create. The reason is that if you are creating content on that account and somebody does find you, let's say the first video back gets a bunch of views, at least then it doesn't look like you're a brand new account and people will be more likely to follow you. I have so many ideas. I get in my own way. I understand it. Okay. So I want to be a purveyor of peace. Love that, by the way. And sell my watercolor art and start my wallpaper design business. Do I need to pick one? No. No, you don't. That's the really cool part. Your content, what you need to do is you need to find a through line. You need to find who is the person that's your through line, okay? Who is the person that's going to want all of these things? Who is my ideal audience? That's what you figure out. And that's the content you create to gain those people. Now, let's say your ideal audience is 1,000 people. It's more than that, but let's say it's 1,000 because the numbers will work well, okay? And you do a really good job of creating content to get those people. And then you were like, oh, I'm going to release a watercolor like art collection. A percentage of those people you just collected will want that. The same thing with the wallpaper. Just make sure that those two things are catered to the audience you're trying to build. Example, let's say you build your audience and it's all like corporate business women, right? Like they're probably not wanting like artsy watercolor stuff. So make sure you build the audience that you want to sell to. But then you can sell whatever you want. And that's the cool part. That's the cool part about being a creator first, is that I think you have more availability to sell whatever you want than someone who starts and knows what they want to sell and then has to create the content to do that. But I start by being methodical and taking the courses. Exactly. So Susie, there will be a guide in there too, of exactly, what courses to create or what courses you should take if this is your option, all of those things. It should be in there hopefully today, possibly in the morning. So I've just got a few things to button up on it. Thank you. I'm tired of taking all the courses and nothing solid. I get that. I totally get that. Care Bear product history, vintage Care Bear product history is the channel that she's got. Oh my gosh. Okay. So things that you could sell. First of all, you could sell like Care Bear art. You could sell like Care Bear collection guides. So like Susie was just saying about even taking courses, like, is there a spreadsheet where you can, or like some kind of fun thing where you can have them like check off, like people who collect Care Bears, like, can they check off like a guide that helps them know when they've got what? Or is there a guide that you could sell them or even give them for free that eventually you could sell them something bigger that is, going to help them figure out what they need? Again, art, let me think of other things. It could be access to things. So like maybe you have access to like old videos of Care Bears and you can sell that through a membership. It could also be a membership with access to exclusive content. So like, okay, I create this kind of content on YouTube, but I have all of this other content where I am actually like going to like a Care Bear conference or like going to like whatever, and I can sell that access as a gated thing in a membership. So there's lots of options there. The really cool part, Tabitha, about having a very specific audience is that odds are they're going to fan a lot easier than a really broad audience. And you can then use that to put things behind a pay gate. You just have to figure out what that is. Like, is it content? Is it exclusive podcasts? Is it exclusive videos? Is it exclusive art or community? Is it a community? Like, you can do all of those things. Okay, a few more questions. I'm going to answer what's left here, and then I'm going to pop out. And if you have not grabbed this and you want to, and to get those bonuses, you need to. Okay, so here's the URL. My circle doesn't expand that far. I love budgeting and productivity, personal development, but I don't know how to offer that. Oh my gosh, spreadsheets. Where my iPad's not in here, but like digital planner type guides for the iPad that let people like write down their budget. What else did you say? Productivity. So productivity checklists, like, cleaning checklist or a cleaning course. I have a friend who teaches cleaning courses. Like, she literally sells cleaning courses. So, a room a day course or whatever. Like, people will pay for the shortcut to the thing they're wanting to learn, whether through a course or a digital product or, again, a membership where they get access to you, things like that. Okay. I'm super curious what your opinion is of managing old long-form video files on your Mac. I'm so tempted to delete them, but the file hoarder. So what I do, don't know if this is right. If there is, Bruce, honey, there's no discount code. Hold on, I'm gonna type that in there in case he can't hear me. There's no discount code. It's just the reduced price on the website. Okay, so, sorry, I got distracted. Okay, so what I do is if it's like footage that I know I will want again. Okay, so a lot of my talking head videos, I know I'm not gonna want that footage again, right? I still keep it, and I'm gonna explain that in a second. But if it's footage I know I'm gonna want again, so like let's say I did some like footage in town, or I got some B-roll or footage of my kids or whatever, I back it up in two ways. So I will put it on one of the external hard drives. I don't have one in my reach, but like one of those external hard drives, I will put that footage there. But I also back it up on Dropbox. So I pay quite a bit for Dropbox every month because we store everything there. So I will just go ahead and put my like video files that I want to keep on Dropbox. I also keep all of my other stuff on Dropbox too. Now, I am actually going to go through the process of like deleting those eventually, because if I haven't needed a video since 2016, I probably don't need it, you know? But I try and store those on cloud services. So the reason I do Dropbox is I think it's easiest to use on both the desktop and cloud. So I will like take my footage, like let's say I just filmed a video, I take it off, I put it on the computer, and I put it straight into Dropbox. Like it doesn't even go on my computer, but if I can access it via the computer app, it does take up space. I hope that makes sense. Then I only keep the active month that I'm working on as accessible offline, which means it's taking space on my computer. So once the month is over, I right click on that folder and I make it online only so that I can still access it, but it's on Dropbox. It does cost me to save all these files, but that's how I do it. Also external hard drives are a great idea too. So, just trying to think of when I'd ever need those in progress or final video edited files. Right. Like I get it, cause I keep them too. During your recent 6-part private podcast series, I came up with the list of 10 video titles and I'm working on the hooks. Yes. Next I'll do the thumbnails. Oh, I'm so glad it was a good one. Yes. So, I'm really excited for you because there's a hooks thing in the All Access Pass. So in content that converts, there's actually a hooks guide with hooks tutorials. And in Viral Vids, which is one of the courses in there, there's also a lot about like hooking and trying to like make that video go viral. Okay, one more question. I have Dropbox and a few external hard drives too. Big fan of Dropbox, not sure what the right system of culling videos I don't need. Yeah, so I haven't fully figured that out either, but I will say that like getting rid of the space it takes up on my computer every month is my best option. And then I still get to keep, it's kind of the best of both worlds. I do have to pay for it, but I still get to keep those old files and they're not bogging down my computer. So that's kind of how I manage that. I do that with my photos too. So I just kind of like dump the month and like, there we are. So, all right, those of you who joined me, I'm so excited. If you didn't and you still want to, and you're like, you know, I just don't know. I don't know if I can make this work. I totally understand. Reach out with any questions. You can DM me on Instagram. You can email us. I put the email in the chat. And yeah, those of you that got in, I'm so excited. I'm so pumped for the content that's coming too. We have several ideas already in the works for new courses and new guides, and the community's already popping. There's already like 30 some people in the community, maybe more, because of some other offers that I let them have part of that. And yeah, I'm excited. So thank you guys for hanging out with me. Yes, see you in Slack. I am so excited. It looks like I have to go and take my child some shoes to school, apparently. All right. Bye, y'all.